Welcome back to Learn German with Potato. In this lesson, you will learn about the plural in German. The first thing you need to know about the plural in German is the articles. Remember, we have three articles in German: der, die, das. In plural, all the articles change to die. So, die is used for every single noun in plural. For example, der Hund, die Hunde, die Katze, die Katzen, das Auto, die Autos. So far, so easy. But if you look at the three examples I gave you, you will notice that the plural form for those words is always made differently. For example, for Hund, we put an Ö at the end. For Katze, we put an N, and for Auto, we put an S to make the plural form. Actually, there are 6 ways to make those plural forms in German. And here comes the bad news. There is no 100% rule on when to use which. So, when you learn a German word, it's better to always remember it with its plural form as well. Still, there are some common patterns on which words you use which form. So, let's look at the different ways one by one with examples now. First, we have words that don't change at all. For example, das Messer, in plural, remember the article changes to die, is die Messer. Der Lehrer, die Lehrer. Das Mädchen, die Mädchen. This rule does always apply to words ending with chen, like Mädchen or Lein. It also often applies to masculine and neuter nouns ending in er, el, or en. Next up, we have words with vowel changes. So a becomes ä, o becomes ö, and u becomes ü. For example, der Vogel, die Vögel, der Apfel, die Äpfel, der Vater, die Väter. This happens to some masculine nouns. Next up, we have putting an e at the end. For example, der Tisch, die Tische, das Spiel, die Spiele, der Stuhl, die Stühle. Notice that in Stuhl, the U changes to Ü. With this form, we often have vowel changes. This form happens to many masculine and neuter nouns. Next up, we have putting an er. This one happens to many neuter nouns and also often comes with a vowel change. Das Kind, die Kinder, das Buch, die Bücher, das Haus, die Häuser. Next, we have putting in en or just n. Die Blume, die Blumen, die Tür, die Türen, die Lampe, die Lampen. This one happens to a lot of female nouns and nouns ending on ö. Lastly, we have putting an s. Das Auto, die Autos. Das Hotel, die Hotels. Das Kino, die Kinos. This often happens to nouns ending in a, o, u, I, or y. That was a little bit complicated, right? So if you learn German words, always remember to learn them with their plural forms so that you don't get confused later. Good job, everybody. That's it for today. See you again next time.